Hey everyone, it's Jessie, and today's video is going to be a vlog, and right when I started filming I started losing my voice. How about that? Wow, ignore the mess behind me. That was embarrassing. I am in my library right now, getting ready to go, gathering the books I need for the signing I'm about to go to, which is for Adam Silvera. Kirsten White, I believe, will be there, and so will the author Laura Timms. So it's gonna be a fun event full of authors, and Kaitlyn will be there, and it's at Mysterious Galaxy Bookstore in San Diego, which is an amazing independent bookstore. If you're ever in San Diego, or if you live here, you should definitely check it out because it's awesome. So yeah, stay tuned for tonight's festivities. It's gonna be fun. This is my OOTD. I'm wearing this little shirt from Ross, and then these pants are from Zara. I don't know if you can tell, but they're kind of hollow. You really can't tell on camera. Wow. They're rainbow on the bottom, and yeah, and then I'm just wearing some heels. So catch me being 6'5" at this event. Oh, also can't forget how amazing my purse is. Thank you, Mary. She got me this little Tinkerbell purse by Danielle Nicole for my birthday, and it is the cutest thing I have ever seen, and I am obsessed with it. So I just realized I have like no gas and I can't drive in these shoes. I have to change into some Birkenstock sandals, and then I have to get gas before I can go. So yay. I'm in the parking lot right now, so I just got to the bookstore.
Oh, you forgot both?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Hello.
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 What up?
That's Adam.
Hi.
He's got Oreos.
I do. Of the golden variety.
Double stuff?
No hate comments.
We will delete your comments.
Don't get boost.
Height difference.
No, this is our series.
We have a step stool.
His chest and he takes selfies with just the top of my head. It's a thing.
I'm gonna redo.
Oh my god, you're both like taking pictures of the selfies. Yeah. That's amazing. I should have thought of that.
So this book is called The Art of Feeling, and it's my most recent one. It came out just a couple weeks ago. And it's about a girl with chronic pain who meets a guy who can't feel pain. And she sort of associates pain with like trauma and like all this nasty stuff. She was in a car accident. And so she sort of develops this obsession with him, like sort of sees him as this sort of superhuman person. When in reality, the condition where you can't feel pain is called chronic insensitivity to pain with anhidrosis. It's like an awful condition, and it shortens your lifespan, and it's this whole thing. So they just developed this really weird relationship, and it sort of spirals from there.
Super fun.
Yeah. And then speaking of fun, so my new book is called They Both Die at the End, and it was released yesterday. And it's set in a world where Deathcast calls you on the day you're gonna die. And they're never wrong. They can't tell you how you're gonna die or what time, just that today's the day. And it follows two boys, Mateo and Rufus, who meet through the Last Friend app and attempt to live a lifetime in a single day.
My book is called Everyone Dies at the End. I'm in the middle of editing book 3. I wish I just killed them all in this one. It's not too bad. So Now I Rise is the second book in the Anti-Darken trilogy. It stars a gender-swapped Vlad the Impaler as Lada Dracul, who, along with her brother Radu, are political prisoners raised in the Ottoman courts. One of them responds really well, one of them responds not so well. Hint, it's the one who becomes the Impaler. So book 2 kind of continues. Anti-Darken starts with their birth, because that's what every YA book wants. And then kind of positions them for the next chapter of their lives. Now I Rise follows Lada's adventures trying to get and keep the throne of Wallachia, Radu's adventures behind the walls of Constantinople during the siege and eventual downfall. Spoiler alert, Constantinople falls. I'm leaving.
Right.
So what inspired each of our books? Because I know we have such a wide range of genres, and I'm really curious on what brought to creating these stories.
For me, it was, I've always, like, everything I write, it was always from, like, some personal place, like me trying to, like, write my way through something. In the case of More Happy Than Not, my first book, it was me trying to, like, see what a world could look like if you could change your sexuality, as conservative people tend to, like, mistake sexuality, like it's a, like it's a switch. So I wanted to, actually create a world where we could see what that would look like. And History Is All You Left Me, my second book, I was, like, trying to see what life would look like if the love of your life died, and like how you sort of reinvent your future. In the case where They Both Die at the end, it's like, you never get a heads up on when we're gonna die, and so I just wanted to create a sort of a speculative world where we can get that heads up, and then how we sort of wrestle with our mortality on that day, and what choices we would make that we wouldn't otherwise know to do if we didn't have that.
And I guess I've always sort of been interested in the relationship between like physical pain and emotional pain. like the way we describe emotional pain is always very physical, like our heart broke or it felt like a punch or something like that. So I wanted to write about that, and then like halfway through writing the book, like I developed chronic pain. Like, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, which is just this like super fun condition where like everything hurts all the time. So that really helped me realize a lot about the book, because physical pain definitely like contributes to emotional pain all the time. And I wanted to write about like the best ways to deal with both types of pain, and if there is a way to deal with it in a way that like makes you stronger and empowers you versus like makes you weaker and like beats you down. Wanted to answer that question, I guess.
It was like, oh, this dude's name is Vlad the Impaler, and he's famous for being incredibly brutal and killing tens and twenties of thousands of people and impaling their bodies, so I should make him a teenage girl. But in all seriousness, I also kind of always start with a question, and an actual question that I'm trying to explore in a narrative, whether it's something simple, like with paranormal, it's can I tell a funny paranormal romance? With this book, I wanted to explore how normal people get to the point where they can justify atrocities in the pursuit of their goals, and what is that path? Because, you know, people that we can look back in history and say, like, yeah, that was bad, that was a bad thing, that was a bad person, but it didn't start out that way. It didn't start out like, you know, coming fully formed Hitler out of the gates. Like, it's a process. I'm not going to gender swap Hitler, just FYI.
Mustache would ruin it.
So I was really interested in kind of following that and seeing if I could take the reader along the same path to the point where they'd be like, oh yeah, you should, oh, why am I agreeing with this course of action? Just, you know, again, fun, happy challenges.
Yeah.
Funny, really positive, and space to live in for 3 years.
And what was one of the main challenges that you faced while writing this book? Something that was like super unexpected? Or?
For me, the structure of it, so the book is narrated by both Mateo and Rufus, as well as a series of interstitial perspectives as well, including the Death Cast operators who call both the boys people they bump into in the streets, their best friends, their worst enemies, and they, you know, all those perspectives, they kind of collide at the end. But originally when I wrote the book, it was just Mateo's perspective. You know, I'd written More Happy Than Not, which was like very autobiographical in a lot of ways, and the case for Mateo, I wanted to write a character who I wanted to aspire to be, not someone who I actually was, and I was like someone who was like pure Hufflepuff and like perfect and amazing and like the last person you want to see die. You know, while trying to like figure out like Rufus's character, I realized that like everything that I knew about him was pretty much just contingent on like what we got out of him from his relationship with Mateo. I didn't actually know who he was as an individual, so I started writing some small scenes like from his perspective. Eventually, like he completely dominated like his own narrative as well. Like it's now like evenly split, and then from there I was like, oh, you know, I'm really curious like what's happening with like this character and that character while Mateo and Rufus are off doing this. So I started writing them as well. I mean, I outlined this entire book from start to finish before writing a single page. That's when it was just the Mateo story. So it was a very happy surprise. I'm so proud of like the way it's evolved.
Heart still hurts. Just saying.
I'm so happy to hear that.
I guess for me it was sort of writing a book about pain as a person who like wasn't really in pain ever, and then becoming a person who was. I sort of had to reevaluate the whole way I was writing the book, because it really affects everything in your life, and I had to like show that in the pages. I guess also just writing Elliot's character. He's the one who can't feel pain. There's a character in the book who sort of like hypothesizes that, oh, like pain was the way that people first learned to relate to each other. Like we all feel pain. We all know what it means when someone says ow. Like we immediately want to reach out and help that person. Like it's the base of like human empathy. It's like, oh, because you can't feel pain, you can't relate to other people. He sort of grows up kind of stunted and not very socially normal. The book is part of about him learning to experience emotional pain, because he'd sort of been shunting that to the side as well as physical pain. So it was difficult to sort of balance that, I guess, and show it in a way that made sense.
Historical fiction is just really hard. Don't do it. I was like, oh, this will be a fun challenge. It wasn't. It was awful.
You're probably Googling every day.
Oh my
right?
gosh. Well, you do like thousands of pages of research and you take notes, and then you realize like, oh, well, in order to capture what life is like in the Ottoman Empire at this exact moment in time, I should know everything that informed what life was like in the Ottoman Empire at this time. So like I want to go back 200 years. It was a lot. But I also wrote a lot of Hufflepuffs.
I mean, at what point do you just think, like, did you ever consider not having an alternate history and just sort of like creating your own world?
No, I really wanted to tell this story. I don't know why, you guys. And that was part of the fun of it, is like, I'll have people be like, oh my gosh, I was Googling this and she used so much real history. I'm like, yeah, it's historical fiction. They're like, wait, this actually happened. I'm like, yes, I know. I'm aware that it happened. I did thousands of pages of research to write that one scene. For me, grounding it in the history, I couldn't divorce it from that, because it just informed who they were so much. And honestly, I think building a fantasy world around it would have been just as much work. Wouldn't have handy research to fall back on. With book 3, I definitely departed more from the historical timeline, which was easier in some ways, although poor Hungary, I'm so sorry. I just blew up their history, you guys. I was like, sorry, using it for this story, and there's a literal apology to Hungary in the back of this book. The research and trying to structure it to be faithful to the history, while also obviously Vladimir Taylor was not a girl. I had some people be like, oh, this one tiny point didn't actually happen. I'm like, no, he wasn't a girl. So we've abandoned the historical timeline in a really significant way right off the bat. Just don't write historical fiction is your takeaway.
No,
Don't do it.
I mean, I actually think, like, if there's a genre that, you know, like, sometimes the question will come about, like, what's one genre you would love the challenge of trying to write or something, or that you don't ever see yourself writing, and it's, like, historical fiction. Like, I just, like, I don't trust myself.
So much to it.
Because write what you know is the first advice. And it's,
Right.
okay, I did not live in the Ottoman Empire. I must learn everything about the empire.
Yeah.
So
But
you would also not write historical fiction?
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'd be too scared.
Do you know what the one genre because I've written all sorts of genres, and I continue to,
Oh my God.
much to the chagrin of my agent. And now here's this. I have no ideas for contemporary, and I've never had an idea for contemporary. And being able to form a plot around the real world where you can't just go ahead and impale 20,000 bodies. I mean, I guess you could, but we're not being realistic there.
Quite the story, though.
Let me tell you, thinking through the actual logistics of transporting that many bodies and like getting that number of stakes, like it is a process.
I'm frightened by the knowledge you've absorbed.
I'm like, wait, it would take a really long time to transport all these bodies. So she'd have to have somebody employed just to dig the holes for the posts, and then they'd have to build in enough time to like display them how they wanted them. Anyway, contemporary, I'm like, I don't know how to do it, you guys. My editor even was like, would you ever want to write contemporary? I'm like, you picked the one genre where I'm like, got nothing.
Yeah. You're gonna be really valuable, like on a zombie apocalypse team.
No, you don't like.
We're just as an engineer.
Yeah. Become an engineer.
I actually have a really specific zombie apocalypse plan. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my God.
First zombie on the ground. Because food is plentiful, social mores haven't broken down, so people aren't walking around with machetes and chainsaws yet. They're not going to shoot you in the head because they're going to be like, oh, that poor woman's sick. So you don't have to watch your loved ones suffer. You don't have to like struggle for survival, and you get a lot of food.
So you.
I
Oh,
want
so
to be
first
first zombie.
infected.
I want to
Okay.
be first zombie on the ground.
All right.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah.
My dad and I talked about getting like that shark suit that, you know, the sharks can't bite them or hurt them, you know? Because I'm like, well, if a shark can't bite through it, I'm sure a zombie couldn't.
But then you're going to struggle to survive for so long. You're going to have to
It'll be
be
really
trying
hot.
food for yourself.
That's a
Yeah.
good one. Because I'm not in the water. But
I just want
See, I like grew up on video games, so like I would find like some like thrill from like trying to survive for the long, except I wouldn't respawn.
I have 2 words: cry and die.
go see ya.
I don't want to live in a zombie apocalypse world. I
So-
would know. That sounds really sad.
Definitely not on the team.
I'll buy you really fast and then you can join me.
I'll be your first meal.
There you go.
I'll be the one who actually kills you guys.
We've got a whole zombie
Oh,
plot
they're
right here.
saying that's gonna kill us. No, I
Oh,
will
I
kill
love
you.
Kirsten.
In light of they both die in the end, if each of you were notified by Death Cast that it was your last day, what is something that you would want to do? What's on your bucket list?
Well, Kirsten's gonna get herself infected.
Everyone out with me.
So, get the zombies.
Okay, so something we would want to do. You would think I'd be able to spit an answer out for this, right? Like this is literally the premise of the book that I've been working on for 5 years.
Just give her a copy.
Like if I think I'm like I don't even think I was asked this yesterday at my launch party.
I know, I would just like find a way somewhere in my brain to, you know, you have like someone who like made you kind of angry a while ago, like at the grocery store, and you like keep thinking of a comeback you could have said to them, or like someone you kind of hate is like still vaguely in your life. Like I would stop thinking about those people, just like somehow. That's all I really want to do for my last time. I
see-
just want to not think about
I thought you were going to like find them.
I was like, who is this? She gonna do? She got her comeback now.
Wow.
What's her
I'm
hair?
going to hunt down every person.
You just reminded me of this woman. I was with Nicola Yoon in New York like a few months ago, and we walked into this empty restaurant, and the hostess was like, "Do you have a reservation?" And we were like, "No." She looks around, and we're like, "There are empty tables, like galore." And she was like, "Well, in the future, we really should just have a reservation because we won't be able to accommodate you if you don't have a reservation." I'm like,
God.
I know what a reservation is. And you have to like mansplain it to me, and it was just like, but I was pissed the entire night. And I actually like, I texted Nikki like 3 days ago. This was months ago. I was like, I thought about that hostess again. She's like, you need to let it go. But I think
So
now
that's what you would do. You would find
I'm
her.
confronting her. Yeah.
Do you make
For
a
sure.
reservation every time you go to a restaurant now? Like, has that like scarred you?
I keep walking in and like magically finding tables that are available, you know? It's just, or I wait 10 minutes, like the world spins. I think what I would actually do though, after I'm done with that, done with her, is like I would like make sure that if I've wronged anyone, I like get my apologies out. If there's someone I want to say I love you to, that I say that, and you know, like things of that nature. And like I like to think that I'd probably like write for a little bit. Like I'd probably write something, and you know, and then I would maybe flip through a Harry Potter book for a bit, and then await
Like the
my
last one with Harry
fate.
Potter.
Yeah.
Probably just throw my kids in the car and go to Disneyland. Spend so much money. And then, yeah, write them
And
goodbye
you do
notes.
that any other day.
Right? Write them goodbye notes and then microwave my laptop. Did you guys see Terry Pratchett?
I saw it,
Oh,
yeah.
that made me so sad.
No, that made me so happy.
Wait, in case anyone doesn't know.
Okay, so Terry Pratchett died, and one of his last requests was that they destroy his hard drive so that his work that was not finished did not ever get published, which I totally support.
And I support it too. It just makes me
Especially after
happy.
what, yeah, especially after what happened to Harper Lee.
Yeah.
Like, just,
Yeah, that's probably why he ends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like
for
I
sure.
would destroy everything so that they couldn't be like, and here's this book she wrote when she was 23 and it's bad and that's why it never got published.
Joy.
There's
Yeah.
my legacy.
And part of me is also like, I don't believe it. I think someone still has like the file somewhere for Terry Pratchett. And
Yeah.
I did appreciate the display though. I'm sure in the next like 10 years it's gonna be like the Terry Pratchett book that you thought got demolished.
Like,
On sale next month. Yeah.
The things on my bucket list that I've never done, like I always want to go like paintballing or like skydiving, like
Yes.
Skydiving
all
would
these
be
just like
good
kind of
fun.
random things. I'm like,
Okay.
I'm just gonna do
You
it.
can paintball while skydiving.
You're shooting at the plane you're falling away from.
That actually seems dope and very like Mission Impossible. Like,
Oh my god.
Okay.
We're gonna have a paintball war
Yeah, I know.
while skydiving.
Let's do it. You have the best idea. Yeah.
Straight through the parachute.
Yeah. Oh my God.
We're dying in it.
And
We're
that's how we
going.
got, yeah.
I'm going epically.
But no, but I know you mean too about like, you know, like not putting like too much into like some label that like, it's sort of like, I mean, even getting sort of into like your Hogwarts house or whatever. Like, I mean, there are times where I'm like, I'm feeling really like Hufflepuff today, and I'm like, that's a Slytherin thing I just did, and like, I'm like, oh, I'm at peak Ravenclaw right now, and like, I mean, I've had like a major Hogwarts like identity like struggle this year because like Pottermore was like, you're a Ravenclaw, and then the Time Magazine quiz that was like making the rounds in July was like, Slytherin, my man, and like, so I'm just like, what? But I feel Hufflepuff, and I'm like, I've never associated with Gryffindor, and like, even though Time Magazine thing was like, that was like at the very bottom, I just don't know, and you know, it's hard.
Also, can you imagine your identity being set by something that sorted you at 11?
Right.
And that
Oh,
follows you for the
I-
rest of your
I would be a
life?
Slytherin at 11.
See, I would have been a Ravenclaw, but I think I'm a Slytherin
I
now.
would have been Hufflepuff. It was like Major Mama's boy. But then I lied a lot, you know? Like I was like no, Slytherin, yeah, I you know, I was thinking about this the other day. I had blackmailed my brother for days about something. Like I think he like broke a glass. It was literally just like a regular glass. Like I think something we had gotten from like a McDonald's souvenir from like a Batman and Robin movie years ago, and he broke it. I was like,
Which actually would probably be worth money now, so...
exactly, yeah. And I was just like, well, I'm gonna tell Mom if you don't do this. And then at one point he just lost it, and he just confessed, and I was like, oh no. And I got in so much trouble. And I was probably 11 when that happened. So
Well, the character in my book sort of uses it as a weird system to understand people because he really doesn't understand people at all. So he's like, okay, I'm just going to figure out their personality type and treat them as a personality type. So, okay, you're an ENFP. I know everything about you. I don't need to get to know you at all. I don't need to get close to you. You're just an idiot in these ways and like an okay person in these ways. So that's obviously a silly thing to do. Don't do that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think they're really useful in terms of discovering like your true identity.
assuming this is about Peter Pan. If so, I want it now.
Talon of God. There's a man on this cover.
A man.
With a dagger. That's my type of man.
That's my type of man, the murderous kind.
Bad boys. I'm trying to see with this straight face and I like can't.
I just post-book signing. We are waiting till the end. The line is settling down. And we're gonna get our book signed and get pictures. Yeah! But Kaitlyn did so good at it. It was so fun! I'm so glad she came. Oh my god.
It is, but like I feel like I'm so used to public speaking and like I'm so used to interviews just because like it was really nice that I'd already interviewed Adam, so I was already like comfortable with them that like they just made it easy on me. Honestly.
Yeah, that's what I was panicking the first time I did it here too, like moderating, because I didn't even have questions because she just asked me to come up right at the signing.
Yeah.
But even then, when you ask a question, they talk about it. I mean, authors have a lot to talk about. So you think you need like 20 questions, but in reality, you need like 5.
I didn't go through all of them because then they asked each other questions. Like it was really just like a nice
and they interact with the audience.
Yeah.
So it's stressful to think about it, but it's not when you're actually doing it. But it's really fun and I love it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
No, that was a good experience. It was my first time doing it. That was basically like, okay, I would do this again. I would do this again.
And I love Kirsten. She's so funny.
Oh my gosh, she's the
They're all
sweetest.
so funny. Adam always bringing up his Harry Potter stuff every 2 seconds. Like, I love you, Adam.
They're literally, and Laura was so sweet.
I forgot I gave Laura my arc when I was up there. I hope nobody took it.
She still has it. Her stuff is on it.
Good.
I told her when you handed her that, I was like, is that our book? I was like, oh wait, that was an arc.
So, yeah,
that was
mine.
nice.
I think I got that at, I don't know, y'all was last year. Yeah.
Like this, you know?
2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years ago. I was like, I didn't
My
get one.
arm hurts, so I should probably end this clip. But yeah, I'm gonna get books signed after this.
Yeah.
Woo!
Kirsten, wait.
Okay.
No. Don't move.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
You're awesome. I think you did such a good job.
Thank you for having me.
No, that was really fun.
And I'm excited that you're coming back for more Mystery Dogs event. I know.
So
I was
many
like,
times.
oh, we did it before.
Yeah,
So
right?
it's Kaitlyi.
No.
Yeah. Not Y-I-N.
Kaitlyn has so many options. It's one of those names that I was like, okay, I have to get this right.
Yup.
Kaitlyn is one, and there's not a dominant one.
No,
Most spellings, there's a dominant one, like my name is spelled wrong. And I'm such a name judge too, and I'm like, my name is spelled wrong, but your name is spelled wrong.
I know, I was like Leigh Bardugo, and like every time she's like, I've seen every single Kaitlyn there could possibly be. So many different ways to spell it.
You can just decide that yours is the best.
Thinking is the right one.
Because I usually go by Jesy, and everybody spells that wrong. Because I spell it the British way, Jesy.
J-E-S.
Oh, that is different.
Wait, Jesy?
Yeah.
Instead of like Jessie or something like that.
Yeah,
Would be like,
Oh no!
I don't know how to get this.
We have to squat because we're too tall.
Wait, now you're not in mine. Hold up. Pause.
Pause.
Okay.
We're double vlogging.
Yeah,
so if we look both ways. Thank you guys so much for watching. It was so much fun.
I had a great time.
Me too.
Oh my god, I'm still just like, I don't even know what to say.
And if you ever come to San Diego, visit Mysterious Galaxy Bookstore.
Especially if it's a big YA event, we'll probably be there. So you just come and hang out with us.
Hit us up and say hi. So much fun. I love this bookstore. It is the best.
It really is.
We're in the young adult section right now, and this
Our
is
favorite
like
corner.
Our favorite corner. My life.
And yeah,
So much fun.
authors were just so great and so fun. Hope you guys enjoyed watching our videos and highlight.
Yep.
And yeah, hope you guys will come check out Mysterious Galaxy.
For sure.
And even if you don't live in San Diego, you can get signed books from them. I'll leave links
order
below
on the website. Yeah.
Yeah, we can, and we'll mail them out to you. So you can get signed or pre-orders and stuff from here if you want to support this awesome independent bookstore.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Be sure to subscribe.
Heck yeah. Give it a
Her
thumbs
too.
up.
Give it a thumbs up if you like these videos, and we will see you next time on our own channels. Bye guys.